Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, good morning. 6:32 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Do you still have Jimmy Butler's phone number from your junior college days with him?
I do have his phone number. I don't plan on calling him anytime soon.
I was going to say, would you have any advice for him, just like friend to friend, or
show up for the plane?
Yeah, right. What's going on there? I mean, I guess he just doesn't like the Miami Heat because they've now suspended him again for 2 games because of a continued pattern of disregard of team rules, insubordinate conduct, and conduct detrimental to the team, including missing the team flight to Milwaukee.
I think Jimmy is trying to force a trade.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I think he's saying, I'm going to make your life miserable if you don't get rid of me.
You know, you kind of look at this and then this other statement that the Heat had. Through his actions and statements, he has shown he no longer wants to be part of this team. Jimmy Butler and his representative have indicated. I think he
said that. I mean, they've demanded a trade.
Yeah, have indicated they wish to be traded. Therefore, we will listen to offers. I mean, it sure makes it hard if you're the Heat trying to trade him because now everybody's like, well, hey, I'll give you a 15th round draft pick for him. And there's only 2 rounds in the draft.
Yeah, I still think that he has value. So, I mean, teams realize that he's just miserable there and trying to force his way out. I mean, so I still think there are plenty of teams that would take him.
Yeah. His preferred destinations include the Phoenix Suns, Dallas Mavericks, Houston Rockets, and Golden State Warriors.
Beggars can't be choosers.
It kind of, I don't know. And apparently,
his preferred destination should be anywhere but Miami at this point.
You'll love this in this article on ESPN. Apparently, his hair color for some of the December games also happened to match the primary colors of Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, and Golden State.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For his game on Tuesday against the Portland Trail Blazers, he wore shoes tinged in orange that matched the Suns' color scheme. What are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, do the Heat still have orange in their uniforms? I feel like they've changed their color scheme since they first started. When they first came into the league, they, black and red and orange.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
But I don't know that they wear those uniforms anymore. I swear, I flip through the channels and I come across an NBA game and I'm like, what team is that? Because they're... And I don't have a big issue with it. It's just that it feels like a lot of them have changed or just you wear a bunch of different uniforms throughout the course of the year. I'm sure if I was dialed into the NBA, that would be fun for me to see my favorite team in different color schemes. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. I would never want the Yankees or Bills to be changing their color scheme.
Sure,
but,
right.
I don't know. I'm sure some people like it, but I always have to do a double take and say, okay, what team is that now?
Right. I mean, if the Yankees came out with orange pinstripes, you'd be like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think I would. That would surprise me.
What are we doing? When I saw this game come up last night, I didn't watch any of it, but I looked at the score after the fact, and I really wondered, okay, number 13 Texas A&M playing number 16 Ole Miss.
I was sitting and doing work, and that game was on for whatever reason, and I watched almost all of it. And well, I say watched, it was just on in the background, but I paid attention to some of it, and I was angry with myself for not turning the channel, just because I'm sitting there pulling hard for the Aggies. Okay. I mean, like, why would you put yourself through that? Just turn the channel or shut the TV off.
Right.
But yeah,
that was what I figured that you were doing. Yeah. I figured that you were, if you had a rooting interest, that would force you to root for the Aggies.
I can't imagine what would get me to root for Chris Beard or his team. I know friendships Patton Pinkins is going there next year, and he seems like a really good kid, and I wish him the best, but I can't imagine that even then. I'll kind of want to watch to see how Patton's doing, but I don't think I can root for that team to win.
63-62, the Aggies win last night.
Yeah. When I did shut it off, Ole Miss had like a 5-point lead with like 3 or 4 minutes left, so glad to hear that.
Yeah. So
that made Mr. Beard super happy.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. Speaking of,
it's just so painful to hear people talk about how great of a coach he is and how great of a job he's doing at Ole Miss, and I'm never ever said he wasn't a good coach, but it's just like he's a terrible human being, and we don't talk about that.
So at any rate, at least they had a unhappy night.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, at least they had an unhappy night.
I'd have slept better if I'd have known they lost.
Hey, remember Malik Wilson, who left Texas Tech to go to Houston?
Sure.
He got in the ball game. He played 24 minutes yesterday in Houston's win over Utah, but didn't shoot very well. 2 of 11, 0 of 2 from beyond the arc. But he did have 7 rebounds and 4 assists.
Okay.
So, I mean, contributed. 4 points for him. They came out to shoot after the Lady Raider game, and Fink was like, "Hey, is that Malik Wilson?" I'm like, "Yeah, it sure is." And I guess, you go to, a lot of places, and I say a lot of places. It's going to be more common, throughout. It's like Coach Gerlich was asked about the other day when they were playing at Iowa State about, Danae Fritz and Jalen Bristow about, did you have any conversation about playing against them? She's like, well, this is the portal era. This is gonna happen all the time now.
Yeah, she's gonna be talked out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday you played against a girl and Ashley Chevalier, who was on your team a year ago, and so it's
her third school.
Yeah, it's just part of it.
Yeah. So Chevalier played at Texas Tech, played at Texas, was here, and then there was others too. I mean, every game, it's like you have some people that have multiple schools, and certainly Texas Tech does. Leilani Ogman, who's Stacey Ogman's cousin, she was out yesterday, but she's played at Troy, Salt Lake Junior College, Seward County Community College. I mean, this is commonplace now. You might see somebody at 2 or 3, 4 different schools. I don't think I've seen 4 yet. I've seen 3.
Oh, I've seen 4 in baseball.
Yeah. So, I mean, somebody says this: Aggies win on a last-second 3. I didn't realize that. So that should make you feel even better. 3 at the buzzer, their only lead of the game. Whew.
Gig 'em.
Jamie with a gig 'em. Wow, that's headline news right there. That might be like Jesus Returns kind of headline right there for Jamie to say gig 'em.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It's Thursday, January the 23rd, 2025. With this day in sports history, here is Jeff McGuire.
Starting in 1944, I'd like you guys to think of a high-scoring hockey game.
I'm going to say 13-10.
Oh, wow. I was just going to go like 5-4.
Yeah, that would be where normally the high scoring goes. Well, the Detroit Red Wings decide that 15 was a good number to go after.
Okay.
Wow.
As they beat the New York Rangers with an NL record 37 points overall. Also consecutive goals and most lopsided game at 15-0. Call the dogs off at some point, guys. I mean, wow.
Well, the other team has to play too. I mean, you can't just
15-0 in a hockey game. 1967.
I mean, I guess you can run 4 corners or something, right? And
I guess, yeah.
Make it, 10 passes before we take a shot. Or
I don't think there's a shot clock in hockey.
Not that I know of.
Maybe I'm wrong. 1967. Stan Musial is named the general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals.
I don't believe that went very well.
1996, the number 22 Texas Tech Red Raiders win their 9th straight and rise to 15-1 with an 18-4 second half run leads to a 72-60 win over SMU in Dallas. In the year 2000, Don Nelson becomes the sixth coach in NBA history to win 900 career games when the Mavericks defeat the Pistons 99-91 at the Palace at Auburn Hills. And in 2018, LeBron James becomes the seventh and youngest player, 33 years, 24 days, to reach the 30,000 NBA point milestone during a 114-102 loss to the San Antonio Spurs. It is Rhubarb Pie Day.
Love rhubarb pie. I mean, I am a huge, huge fan of rhubarb pie.
Feels like the lucky lady should make you one today.
Okay.
I mean, you're a huge fan, and today is the day.
Today is the day. Rhubarb pie.
What better day than today?
I agree.
Big time happy birthday going out to one of our favorite people. Happy birthday, former Texas Tech men's tennis coach Tim Siegel. 61 today. One of Jamie's and my favorite people also celebrating a birthday today.
Whoa.
And everybody with taste. Tiffany Amber Thiessen is 51 today. You don't even know who that is. She can't be one of your favorite people.
Was she on Full House or something?
No. She was on Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell.
And White Collar and a couple other shows. But
Yeah, you're right. She'd have to introduce herself if she walked in here today.
oh, she would need no introduction.
Okay.
None whatsoever.
Well, we know she wouldn't be good enough for Travis Kelce, though.
Was that her former boyfriend?
No.
She's not Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And Richard Dean Anderson, MacGyver, is 75 today. And on this day...
Man, I loved that show.
The original.
That was one of
MacGyver.
my favorites.
Yeah.
And on this day in 1556, an earthquake in China kills an estimated 830,000 people. Counting casualties is often imprecise after large-scale disasters, especially prior to the 20th century. But this disaster is considered the deadliest of all time. The quake struck in the late evening, with aftershocks continuing through the following morning. Later scientific investigations revealed that the magnitude of the quake was approximately 8.0 to 8.3. Which isn't close to the strongest tremor ever recorded. However, where the quake struck in the middle of a densely populated area with poorly constructed buildings, the resulting horrific death toll ensued. Deadliest disaster in human history.
What year?
1556.
Where was this?
In China.
China. Okay.
And this day in sports history.
All right, this day in sports history. Upon further review, Stan Musial. I said, I don't think it went very well for him. Okay. Stan Musial served as the St. Louis Cardinals general manager in 1967. They won the pennant that year and the World Series. He then resigned that position. So I think it did go really well for him. Okay. Apparently, according to his Wikipedia, this is kind of interesting. Because usually great players sometimes don't always make either a great managers or great general managers. But he was known for his negotiation of fair contracts with players, okay, and also established the babysitting service at the ballpark to help players and families that had young children. So
That's nice of him.
Yeah. So I mean, sounds like he made solid contribution, not only to what he did as a player, but also what he did as a front office person there for the St. Louis Cardinals. So there you go. So, and he also was part of Lyndon Johnson's physical fitness advisor and helped create a position to promote better fitness among citizens. Okay.
Hey.
Did you ever do that? Like I don't even know if they have this anymore. They would have the I forget what they called it, but they had the presidential, fitness award, and it would be like something that was promoted in, I think, grade school and junior high. But I mean, it was heavily promoted, and you would have to do all these different things, and then at the end of it, you got a patch or something like that. Did you ever do
Yeah,
that?
we had to do that stuff. Yeah.
Did you get the patch?
I think it was more elementary. I don't remember a patch.
Okay.
I think it was more just a certificate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know that I probably ever completed that or even started it, maybe thought about it, but or looked at it and went, no, that looks like something that would be fun, but never wasn't required. Sometimes if stuff's required, then that gets my attention. Like, it's like, when somebody says, hey, you need to do this. I'm like, do I really need to do this? Yeah, you need to do this. Or what? Or you can't be here anymore. Okay.
Okay.
So
really, that's not like taking somebody's advice or whatever. That's taking their direction.
Direction, yeah. I feel like that I do a decent job of that. I'm not 100. I can't say that I'm the best at that, but I try to take direction as best I can. 6:52 this morning here on the Morning Drive. If you have a thought, comment, Yates Flooring Center chat line. We get this, Jamie, with regard to the end of the Mississippi State Ole Miss game. This guy says, really? I turned it off when they went down by 6 with 10 seconds or so to go. Somebody must remember the Presidential Certificate Physical Fitness Award. Presidential Physical Fitness Award, I think that's what they called it. Pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups. And then somebody else writes in, JFK is credited with adding physical education to schools.
Man, I could never do the pull-ups well at all. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Push-ups, I was okay with. Sit-ups, I was really good with.
Mm-hmm.
Pull-ups were
hard.
Struggle.
Yeah, there's no question. No question. I always liked. I'm glad that JFK added the phys ed to schools because the gym class was always something that I really looked forward to. I'm sure everybody did.
Favorite class when I was
right. When you're in
school,
in middle school or junior high, whatever they called it.
High school
whatever.
Too. That was my favorite.
Yeah, we'll go down to gym class. See if we can get out there and mix it up a little bit. I don't know that they have as much gym class anymore as they do today.
I think if you're in a sport or whatever, kind of you get credit for it that way. I think you can even be in like band and that's your phys ed credit or whatever. Okay. So I think a lot of things. I do think it is different than it used to be.
Yeah.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. I'm curious, and I don't know what you guys are thinking about this. If you're going to participate in the quote dash for cash today that's going on internally here in our compound.
No. I think it's some station gimmick for one of our stations. I hope it goes well. I hope they have fun. But if they'd have asked me on a day that I had just finished playing tennis or whatever, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Could you be warmed up and ready to go?
And wearing the correct clothes or whatever. But I'm not dying to go outside in the cold and make a sprint.
9:45 in the morning. Jeff?
If I was motivated by money, I wouldn't work in radio.
I'm not really a radio station gimmick guy.
I know.
I like a good radio station gimmick. Don't get me wrong.
I think both of you guys do.
But if I was motivated by money, I wouldn't be working in radio. If I'm running, somebody's off the air or a bear is chasing me.
Because I would have bet money on you, Jamie, that you could have won. I don't know how long the quote dash for cash
I think
is.
It's pretty short. It's just, again, I didn't feel the need to bring extra clothes to change so I could sprint.
Who do we have a representative from Double T 97.3 and 100.7 The Score?
I don't think so. I think this was more of a music station kind of thing.
Okay.
So let the music station folks have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope it goes well.
I got to think that there's really one person here that we know. I'm sure he can get away from his high-paying job, but I'd be shocked if Chris Nee didn't come over here in his referee togs and lace it up and get out there and run for the cash, quote cash.
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. I'm sure if you could get Joyce and Clint involved, they'll, the competition part of it would kick in, and that would be fun. But they're pretty competitive guys, especially with each other.
Right, those two. Yeah. Who would you bet money on, Joyce or Clint?
That's a short distance. I probably would go with Clint. Just he's a little taller. I feel like he would have the advantage.
Okay.
I feel like they're both about the same.
Could I get a designated runner? Like, could I have somebody come in and run in my behalf, like bullfighter?
No.
Okay.
If bullfighter ran, could he get the cash? As far as I'm concerned, sure.
Sure, yeah.
He couldn't run for you.
Bullfighter be winning then? I mean, he's not representing you. He's representing himself.
But he would be representing me as the quote employee. He'd be my designated runner. Christine, breaking news has just reported in. He is not participating.
That's disappointing.
That is disappointing. I'm disappointed. Now see that I feel like that's a initiative that he's like, now he's drawn a line in the sand, not going to participate.
I have no idea what his schedule is like, so I don't.
He says not participating. Okay. All right. A couple things. One, it looks like Mike McCarthy he's still out there interviewing for jobs. And Sports Illustrated, an article this morning says New Orleans is a likely landing spot for him. But I really wondered if Jacksonville might be the better spot for him, especially with Jacksonville yesterday firing their general manager, Trent Baalke, which is really, really bizarre when you think about it, because they had fired their GM or their coach, Doug Peterson, and these other coaches, the ones that took like the job with the Bears and and the Jets and other places, like, I'm not going there because of that guy. And I guess the owner finally got sick of hearing that and said, okay, out with you. But now there's not anybody left in terms of the young guns to take that job. So I wonder if McCarthy would be a better fit in Jacksonville. They got a great quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. He's not been as great as they thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I don't know where you rate him. Mm-hmm.
But McCarthy, I think, has been the guy that can elevate quarterbacks. He's proven that.
Yeah, I don't think either of those fits would be bad for him.
Yeah,
New Orleans or Jacksonville.
So that leaves the Dallas Cowboys. And I guess everybody.
I don't think he's going there.
No, he's not going there because they came to an agreement of. Now that would be something, right? That'd be right up there with. It'd be an all-timer. Well, you know what? We kicked tires. We looked around, and you know what? The guy we had is still a really good coach. That wouldn't really be the most Jerry thing ever, but I mean,
we can't find anything better, so we're just gonna stick with him.
We're just gonna go back to Mike. Mike, you can move back into your office. So, anyway, Choice Woodman and Clint Scott apparently have reported in for duty, Jamie. So they're going to run.
Okay.
I hope that they don't pull anything today.
Yeah. So I still think that the Cowboys haven't hired a coach because the coach is still coaching.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah. I still think that's where we are.
Well, now the Cowboy fans go out and really root hard for Philadelphia to win so that it pushes Kellen Moore back even further, and then they go, hey, maybe there is somebody else out there that can take this job.
Well, and you hear that Brian Schottenheimer had a second interview, and I don't think that's got Cowboy fans excited at all.
No.
Man, Rob Rowe did a terrific job yesterday on the bottom line on 100.7 the score. Excuse me, the end of the bench on 100.7 the score, talking about kind of his resume, and it's not good at all.
You're exactly right.
Good at all.
You're exactly right.
And so I just wonder what in the world makes Jerry think this guy would be a good option as the head coach. But who knows?
Chuck, I need you to stop something for me.
Okay.
You are a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Hope it's not like a train or something.
No, this is easy. Chuck, you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan?
Yes.
Long time.
Yes.
You've been with the Kansas City Chiefs since you were knee-high to a grasshopper. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Fully endorse you in supporting your team. What would it take for you to root for the Raiders versus the Broncos in the AFC Championship game?
Oh, well, I'd root for the Broncos. Root for the Raiders?
Root for the Raiders or the Broncos in the AFC Championship game. What would it take?
Yeah, you're exactly right.
I have the Commanders and the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. There is nothing about this game I want to go well for anyone involved. I want a meteorite to come and hit the stadium so the game can't be played.
See, I'm rooting for the Commanders
the
because
Giants aren't playing.
That's the only team in the East that isn't playing. There's nothing that's going to make me root for the Eagles or the Commanders this weekend. These are my hated rivals about to go to the Super Bowl, and I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Was this question asked of Jeff? I
need
confused.
you to stop thinking Cowboys fans are rooting for the Eagles.
I just said that's what I said. I said that
Cowboys fans are rooting for the. I totally missed that.
To root for the Eagles, so that would push Kellen Moore back a little bit further,
right.
and then potentially maybe somebody else could slide in.
We're not rooting for the Commanders to push Cliff Kingsbury further either. No. We're not rooting for either of them. We're rooting for the meteorite to blow up the stadium.
I'm rooting for the Commanders.
You're not a Cowboy fan.
Well, no,
you're a Chiefs fan.
I'm a Cowboy supporter. I'm a casual Cowboy fan. Yeah, that's fair.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
but that's the difference.
But Jamie, you're right. I happened to hear Rob Bro talking about Brian Schottenheimer in his resume yesterday on 100.7 The Score, and man, just. Again, even if you look at his Wikipedia and see all the different places that he's been and the lack of success that those teams have had under his regime, under his tutelage, you're like, what constitutes one interview, let alone two?
It makes you wonder how he has the current job that he has.
Right, yes. And if you stopped 1,000 cars, heck, if you stopped 10, could 5 of them have said that he was the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys last year?
Yeah, I bet so. There are a lot of Cowboy fans.
I don't know.
100? 100 cars? Yeah, I bet Cowboy fans.
You'd be a majority?
No, but more than 5.
More than 5. Okay.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, guys, I want you to look at the NFL standings or just playoff situation, whatever, at this point. I want you to tell me the 2 teams in the NFL that were the biggest positive surprise this year and 2 teams that you feel like have been the biggest disappointment this year. It can be for a variety of reasons.
Okay. I think biggest disappointment.
While you think.
Okay.
It is hard for me not, and even as I'm saying this, I want to vomit. It's hard not to say the rise of the Commanders this year. Reaching the NFC Championship game after everything that they've been through. How is that not the story of the NFL this year for that turnaround? I know they were better last year, but they are exponentially better this year. You got to salute what is going well, and it's absolutely going well in Washington. It would be impossible for me not to say the Dallas Cowboys failing miserably at every aspect of being a football team.
Even with the Dak Prescott injury.
Including the Dak Prescott injury, because you've got the contract beforehand, where if you'd waited, you have the Dak Prescott injury, and you don't have the contract.
Right.
You did everything wrong.
Right.
When you were basically eliminated, then you won to worsen your draft pick. You traded to get a receiver for a draft pick that you could use going forward to make your roster cheaper so that you could deal with your quarterback who is highly overpaid coming off of an injury now. Everything you could do wrong, you did. Congratulations, Dallas Cowboys. Good for you.
All right, Chuck.
It's hard to top that response and answer. I agree with him on the Washington Commanders. Without question, what Dan Quinn has done, and Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels. I mean, the way he's come in and performed as a quarterback in his first year. I mean, he's been spectacular, and it sounds like his on-field and off-field just approach and grasp of the game and everything has gone nothing but great for him. There's no question the Cowboys are a huge disappointment. I also have to think that the New York Giants are a huge disappointment with what they did at 3-14. They were expected to be better than that. They're not necessarily expected to get and make a deep run of the playoffs, but they paid their quarterback an awful lot of money, whom they've since released, Daniel Jones, and they have now stayed with their coach for the time being, but I think the Cowboys, in terms of this area, certainly tops the headline of what Jeff said with regard to the way they handled the Dak Prescott negotiation. And so you can throw CeeDee Lamb in there as well, and then you can add in the decision not to go after Derrick Henry and blame that on money and what that cost them, and then the whole Zeke Elliott fiasco as well. So I think I'm going to agree with Jeff that Washington is the big surprise and Dallas is the big disappointment.
Okay, so my two biggest surprises, I'm with you guys. The Commanders have to be at the top of the list. Number 2 for me was the Minnesota Vikings. Did a really tough division with Sam Darnold as their starting quarterback for much of the season. I don't think anybody would have predicted the Vikings to get to 14-3 and to be right there in the mix for the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs until the final week of the season. I mean, the final game of the season. So that Vikings were a huge surprise to me as well, to go along with the Commanders. My 2 on the negative side of things, I think the top of my list is the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, that was a team that I guess you can talk about the Cowboys, but did anybody expect the Cowboys to be in the NFC Championship game fighting for the number 1 seed or fighting for a spot to go to the Super Bowl? I don't think so. San Francisco 49ers are a team that people expected to be there, and they ended up winning 1 less game than the Cowboys. So I think the San Francisco 49ers were a much bigger negative surprise. And I'm going to, as far as a big disappointment in this season, and you're going to think I'm talking crazy here, the Detroit Lions. I think everybody felt like they were such a good story. Everybody was dying for the Lions to be in the Super Bowl this year. They were rolling, and for most of the season looked like the best team in football. Because of injuries, because of whatever, we're now here in the NFC Championship game weekend, and they're not involved.
Yeah.
They didn't even get there. And again, I felt like it was such a good story that everybody wanted to see the Lions, who have become a very likable team and all that good stuff. Everybody wanted to see them get there, and it felt like they were head and shoulders above everybody else for like 75% of the NFL season. And again, we're here in the NFC Championship game weekend, and they're not involved. That, to me, is a major disappointment. So disappointing on a different kind of level.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Not like they just completely tanked the season when you expected them to be good, but looking like they were the cream of the crop and they don't get to the Final Four. That feels like a major disappointment.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on with your 2 there, especially with the 49ers, because it was all about, hey, let's run it back. Let's see if we can get back to make a deep run, get back to the Super Bowl, and that it's a huge disappointment for them to finish last. And I'll tell you, this is going to seem strange too, but not because of how they finished and lost in the playoffs, but what they did in the regular season. Because I don't think that Houston had as good a season in the regular year this year as they did last year.
No, not even close. I think there was a much better vibe for the team or whatever. They had some key injuries that really hurt them during the year, but it did. And that division is horrible.
Yeah.
So a 10-7 record for the Texans, you would have thought that they could have been a lot better in a very mediocre AFC South.
Yeah.
Less than mediocre, really.
And maybe if they'd won a playoff game, you'd feel a little bit differently about the LA Chargers, but I mean, with what Jim Harbaugh did in year 1,
they were still a surprise to me this year.
Yeah,
in year 1, in a positive way. Yeah, even though it fizzled out there at the end.
Yeah, And then you could add the Jets in there as a big disappointment too, with all that they had.
The Jets and the Giants, I don't think anybody thought they were going to be good, so they're not. Neither one of them were a surprise to me.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. We come to you from the First United Bank studio. We'll have Red Raider basketball with Grant McCaslin on tonight at 6. That'll be from 6 until 7. And we'll have Red Raider hoops on the air for you on Sunday when they take on Oklahoma State. So I'm sure the head coach will preview that and also look back at the Cincinnati win this past weekend and also the win the previous Saturday. So at any rate, you got a lot of positive stuff going on with Texas Tech hoops. You're ranked in one poll, just outside the polls in the other, and not a whole lot to fix right now, Jamie.
How you feel if you win on Sunday? You'll probably, just because other teams in front of you have lost, even though neither one of the wins were uber impressive against a top 10 team or anything, that you still would probably slide yourself into both polls in the top 25. So that's good news.
Yeah,
that's good news. We always like to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's not the end all be all, but we enjoy that. No, hey Chuck, I quite frequently get crazy emails over different stuff that people are trying to market to us, and I just got a funny one that I thought I would share with you. This email talks about how Valentine's Day is coming up. Right. Okay. And it says, sometimes the love of your favorite team can take over. You stick by them through the good times and the bad times, and it's a love that never fades away. Says with Valentine's Day coming up, this group wanted to analyze fans across the NFL who see were the most loved up or who were dining for one. And they list the teams that have the highest percentage of single fans in the league.
Okay.
The Bengals are
like this, like you're single, not like coupled up with.
Yeah, you don't have a significant other. Yeah, the Bengals are top of the list at 58.2, but the Cardinals are in second, and Jeff's Dallas Cowboys, 57.1% of their fans are single. Jeff, you factor into that.
I do. Yes.
Yeah. And Texans fans are sixth on the list.
I don't understand that, by the way.
56.1%.
Is that the youth of the Metroplex coming through there?
No, this is a mistake by women. Because hear me out.
Wow. Okay.
Hear me out.
Okay. Wow.
This ought to be good.
This ought to be great.
Hit the record button, all right?
Hear me out. What do women want in a relationship? Dedication. Low standards being expected from. Knowing that they will show up year after year when they have gotten nothing in return. The only thing that women will be afraid of with Cowboys fans is they can't give them a ring. But other than that, you get everything else. You get love and affection and money spent on you and dedication. You just don't get a ring, so you can't get married. But that doesn't mean you can't have a great relationship with a Cowboys fan. They've proven that they can absolutely withstand everything and still show up and think they have a chance. Looking in the wrong place, women.
I think Cowboy fans have high expectations.
But they're never met, and they keep showing up. That means the women have to do nothing. Wouldn't
you, the female, say that Cowboy fans are probably more angry because of the struggles? But maybe they're heavy drinkers because of it.
But they keep coming back. That's the thing you got to focus on.
No.
They are getting nothing for all of the effort and the money.
I mean, if you
love.
hook up with a Chiefs fan, you got people that are always happy. I mean, that makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah. Right now is the catch that Chuck just brings. Cowboy fans have gotten nothing in return for their love and affection and money. and they keep coming back.
Well, I mean, they have at least 5-6 more years of Mahomes, and most relationships don't last that long, anyways. So I feel like they're 5 or 6 years, they'd be good, Chuck. I don't think there's going to be any drop off.
I'm just saying, they've got jobs because they have to have jobs because all the Cowboy stuff is so expensive that you have to purchase to be a Cowboys fan.
Maybe the Bengals and the Cowboys and the Cardinals are so high on the list because their fans have just given up on any kind of relationship that could be positive in any manner.
I'm just saying, look for Cowboy fans for date. That's all I'm saying. They have proven that they can get nothing and still keep showing up.
What is it? Hope for the best and expect something a little bit better. That's what it is.
Sure. Sure. Well, I wish you luck, 57% of you Cowboy fans out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. What are the Chiefs fans? What is that?
It didn't list all the teams.
Didn't list all the teams.
I'm sure the Chiefs fans were the happiest group.
I mean,
they're probably
that bandwagon
probably
just
100% married.
Keeps getting fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller.
And it's not like you have to worry about where they're going to be on Sundays. They're going to be watching the Cowboys crying their eyes out.
I don't know if that's really what you want, a husband or boyfriend, right?
They're not running around on you.
think
they're crying just like everybody else is.
D-Rock says this: I guess my wife wised up and got with a Cowboy fan. I was able to scrape together a ring through thank goodness. Somebody says, get him, Jeff. Sassy Redhead says, that was funny, Jeff, especially the part about the ring.
Yeah.
Play the clip from Billy Madison about the dumbest thing said. Okay. Cowboy fans are delusional and miserable. Nobody wants that in a partner. Wow. That might have come from the other side of the aisle there. So if you have a thought or a comment on that, if you buy into what Jeff is saying, hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. David says this: you're leaving out single women, Jeff.
Well, I don't know any single women, so that's probably a fair statement.
Well, maybe if you did, it would increase the odds of you being.
I'm not saying that doesn't also
not
factor
being a
into
single
things.
man anymore. I feel like you'd have a better chance, don't you think, Chuck? Yeah.
Can you imagine the celebration if Jeff got married again? What would that entail? What kind of party would that
Small
be?
wedding, big reception.
Small wedding, big reception. Would we have gaming tables out for everybody? You know,
Like
instead of a
board
dance?
games?
Yeah, no. Like your
Twister.
Video,
I think he means
No,
Twister.
we're not
video
playing
game.
Twister. No.
your video games. Like,
No.
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 Didn't know if you'd have like a
No.
big setup. Big,
Scrabble?
No. There'd be a good food spread and a pretty decent bar, but other than that, and probably some good music playing in the
Are
background.
you accepting applications right now?
Always.
Always. Somebody says there's nothing worse than Cowboy fans who are now Chiefs fans. Just so you know, I've been a Chiefs fan since I was about 6.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.